Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello everybody, welcome to our Wednesday, the Leading Change episode this week with Frederik Vannieuwenhuyse. Hey Frederik, welcome back.
Hello Vasco, thank you.
So Frederik, today we talk about change. I like to call it change leadership because at the end of the day, as Scrum Masters and Agile coaches, we're very much in a leadership position when it comes to all the changes we work with. Now, this could be a personal change or a team level change or even an organizational level change. That's okay. But walk us through that story, like step by step. And as you go through that story, highlight for us the tools, the tips, the tricks, and the techniques you learned back then that you still apply today.
Yeah, thank you. So this is rather about organizational change. It is with teams, Scrum teams, Agile teams, that on the level of the team, they work relatively well. But in the organization, a lot of things are happening that in one way or another are holding back the teams. And the main point is that management doesn't really see yet or the advantages of an agile way of working. Conceptually, they understand it, but they haven't seen the results yet, the real benefits. And so how do you address this? I mean, a lot has.
So the team saw the benefits, and they were maybe even already sold on the ideas. Yeah. But you saw that
they were practicing Scrum.
They were practicing, but you saw that at the organizational level there are some obstacles, and until the managers see why we need to remove those obstacles, nothing is going to happen. Is that where you were at that time?
Indeed, management, and then including also the stakeholders in the organization. But what was lacking, according to me, was a clear view on why. Why will we or why should we work in an agile way? Why should we support the teams in Scrum, and then what is our role in this as management or leadership? So what was my approach is, in fact, to zoom in on the potential benefits of an agile way of working is to first get a clearer view on the pain points in the organization today. So what are the organizational pains, if we can call it this way, that Agile could possibly help? Yeah. And to be able to do that, it's also important to understand what kind of conditions then do we need to create so that Agile teams can actually flourish? Because in an organization with more, let's say, a traditional mindset and a traditional structure, processes, and so on, there is a lot that could hold back the effectiveness.
Can you give us an example of one of those organizational obstacles or blockers for the teams?
Yes, for example, we want to inspect and adapt, but there is nothing really foreseen to close feedback loops. We do something, we build a product, but it's an open-ended feedback loop. So we don't really get information back, we really don't get feedback, and the organization doesn't structurally support this. Another pain is that if you look at the design of the team, the way that the team is composed, let's say, the organization was putting a lot of emphasis on traditional roles. And you have the QA lead, and you have the test leads, and you have the project managers.
And that was all creating kind of silos, right?
It creates silos. It creates a friction, or even just opposite sides. In the organization. Yeah, and the silos, especially between the IT technical department and the other departments in the organization, or internal customers, you could say, who had a completely different way of working and a different view on they were basically not collaborating with each other. And that is reinforced by the fact that in the organizational structure, they're just in completely separate department with a separate management, not really. Yeah. They don't have a common objective either, you could say. So what did I do? So first step was to get a better view on the organizational pains and what is impeding in the structure of the organization an agile way of working. And then, to also buy into how can we leverage agile? How can an agile way of working help us? That's one point. But what is really the objective behind that? Because in an end, Scrum as a framework or Agile is a tool to accomplish something else. So what do we want to accomplish? What is this common objective? And you can do that on a team level. You can do that for certain product development or a project. What I wanted to do is to get to the strategic objectives of the organization, and try to link this to the Agile initiative that we want to continue, and I want the management to support.
And what did you find? Like, did you find that the objectives were clear, that there was an understanding of how Agile could contribute to those objectives? What did you find?
Objectives were defined, but not known and not understood by the teams. So the first thing was to kind of disseminate this information. The second thing is that there were way too many initiatives going on. So we kind of created a portfolio of that to get a clearer view and to make choices regarding the product. And then really to get with the IT manager, with representatives of the business entities together in a workshop, create a strategic objective. So why do we want to do this? What do we want to achieve? And then if you have alignment there, it enables you to address some of this organizational pain points and to get support. Whenever we need some support from the management, when the team gets stuck with something, then they understood they can link it to that objective, and that is important. I think,
And how did that go? Because I imagine that having that portfolio discussion and even discuss what to stop eventually might not have been a very easy conversation.
No, and that's still ongoing. What they now, for example, do is as at least quarterly look at that and see what kind of initiatives in the portfolio are going on and are generating value and which not, and to limit the number of ongoing initiatives so you don't have too many in progress. And for this setting an objective on a strategic level, try to apply some way to set an objective. I don't want to only say objective key results, OKR, but that is one way that you could use that as well, and that everybody can clearly understand. And just to figure out one or two key indicators, or key results to make that measurable. So one example is we wanted to create a strong agile community. That what would be one key result. We wanted to have a strong agile community of volunteers from wherever in the organization who say, yes, I want to support this and I'm going to join it. So that was one key result that we realized.
So when you look at this transition, or this change, which is actually an organizational change, how we manage the organization, in order to benefit from Agile. What are some of the key lessons you took from this process that you want our listeners to take with them?
Well, as a Scrum Master, you support your team, but you need to serve the organization. So I don't think it's good enough to only look at the team level, how they practice Scrum, because the impediments or the obstacles that really hold back the teams or whatever dysfunctionality is happening in the organization. So go out and understand what is structurally happening in the organization. And as you start as a Scrum Master, you work as a Scrum Master. And the why are we practicing Scrum? Why do we want to work in an Agile way is not clear. And there's not a clear link with the objectives of the organization or what management is saying. Try to create this link. So what I've done here is to basically involve stakeholders that could contribute to this discussion, involve management, and get a common view on a strategic objective to support any kind of Agile initiative. And I think a Scrum Master should be doing this as well, and should be doing that from the beginning when you're involved in some kind of Agile change initiative.
Absolutely. And this highlights one of the key roles for Scrum Masters that very often gets forgotten, because it's not, by the way, part of the Scrum Guide either, which is that my team needs to work well, and they need to collaborate and need to be productive, and they need to have a goal and so on. But they need to do that in the context of the whole organization. And it is up to me, the Scrum Master, to actually go out and understand that context, because the team is fully focused on the work at hand. Now, we can do that together with the product owner, and I think that would be a great idea. But at least we need to take that initiative to really feel the responsibility that understanding how the whole organization benefits from my team and how my team benefits the organization is a key part of our work.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that story, Frederik.
You're welcome.
Leading change is one of the core skills we must acquire, but it is only one of the steps towards our success as Scrum Masters. Tomorrow, on Success Thursday, we will talk about how to define success for the Scrum Master role. We'll cover tips on how to measure your way to that position, and most importantly, how to develop that focus on continuous improvement that is as important for Scrum Masters as it is for teams. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.